Okay, our next problem here is asking us how do we simplify fractions with square roots. And the explanation is that basically there are three types of fraction with square roots in there, or three main types of fraction with square roots in there. The first type is the type that we just see above, where the square root is on the bottom of the fraction. The second type is the type that we see that later, where the square root is on the top of the fraction. Or the second type is the type where the square root is on the top of the fraction. And the third type is the type where the square root is both on the bottom and the top of the fraction. So we have something like so. For the first type and the second type, for the first type and the third type, we will need to do simplifications. Because again, like I mentioned previously, people or mathematicians, or just in convention, they don't want the radical sign or the square root sign to be on the bottom of the fraction. But they like the square root sign or the fraction sign, or they like the square root sign or the radical sign to be on the top of the fraction. So this is the middle one is great because the square root or the radical is on the top of the fraction, so no more simplification is needed. But for the first and the third case, we need to do more simplification. So how do we do the simplification? Well, again, we just multiply. For example, if I want to simplify, let's do simplification of root 2 over root 3. We just want to multiply this fraction by 1. And exactly what form of 1? We want to multiply this fraction so this fraction has the denominator of root 3. We just want to multiply this entire fraction by root 3 over root 3. So basically multiply the entire fraction by the bottom number. That way we multiply this fraction by 1 and we can cancel out the bottom denominator and making it not a radical. So on the top we have root 2 times root 3, which is just root 6. And on the bottom we have root 3 times root 3, which is 3. So over here, our result, we have a fraction, but here we have the radical sign or the square root sign is on the top of the fraction as the numerator. So this is simplified, and this is now at its simplest form. So this is how we simplify the fractions with square roots. First, identify which case is the problem. If it's the middle one, it's already at its simplest form, and you're going to do more simplification. If it's the left one or the right one, then you need to do more simplification to move the square root from the bottom of the fraction to the top of the fraction, like we just did in this example. Okay, so this is how we simplify fractions with square roots. Now let's look at the explanation given in the sample solution. Again, they did a similar example as us. They also did another example like this. So this is actually another case, but so you just multiply this so in the case where you have two numbers, one of them is an integer, the other one is a radical, you just multiply it by its reciprocal. So basically you just change the sign and then multiply this by also by 1, but the top and the bottom is both the reciprocal of the denominator of the original fraction. Okay, let's just say something like, great job, the solution is correct. Cool. Now let's move on to our next problem.